Is it actually possible to build a backwards Magic deck that works in exactly the opposite way of every other Magic deck and also splashes blue just for Fog Bank for some reason? That's what we're going to find out on today's Meme or Dream. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Meme or Dream, the series where we take decks that Wizards publishes over on Magic.gg, saying they got at least 6 wins in a row or more at Platinum Rank or better on Magic Arena, and we put them to the test, and we try to find out, are they actually as janky as they look, making them a meme, or is there something super sweet and spicy hiding behind the janky facade, making them a dream? And today we have one of the most unique decks that we have ever played on Meme or Dream. The story of this deck is actually kind of hilarious. So I was looking through deck lists, and this deck caught my eye for one reason. So this is, I would say, like an Abzan Super Friends deck, essentially. We get a bunch of Planeswalkers, we got some ways to wrap into them, we got a bunch of Wraths to protect them. So that part kind of makes sense. It looks kind of clunky, right? The numbers are kind of weird, but whatever, like Abzan Super Friends makes a lot of sense. The thing that caught my eye initially was the deck is splashing blue only and specifically to play 4 copies of Fog Bank in the main deck. And I thought this was the interesting part of the deck, right? We're adding an entire color to our deck to play Fog Bank, a 0/2 wall, where all the damage that's dealt to it or by it gets prevented. It does have flying, which is nice. So I guess the idea is you splash blue for Fog Bank to block and defend your Planeswalkers. That by itself is already super far out there. But then I realized this deck goes way deeper than that, and we might be looking at a deck that could revolutionize the very way that we play decks and build decks in Magic. So if you dig into this deck more, it's got no sideboard, which I've kind of become desensitized to no sideboards in Meme or Dream decks. That happens way more often than you think. But it's 75 cards. So when I first noticed, okay, no sideboard, 75 cards, my initial assumption was, all right, Wizards made an error publishing this deck, and they somehow mixed the sideboard into the main deck. Because it would make a lot of sense if, like, Authority of the Consuls and Filigree Silencers, maybe some of the lesser Wraths, like some of those cards were in the sideboard. That would actually be kind of the obvious solution to this problem. But then I looked deeper at the deck and I realized it's playing 31 lands, which based on Yorion decks is roughly the number that you'd want to play for a 75 card deck. So the theory that Wizards made a mistake publishing this deck kind of went out the window, because someone obviously built this deck to be 75 cards. They're playing the right number of decks for the right number of lands to be 75 cards. And then it struck me, we might be looking at a deck that changes everything in Magic deck building. As far as I can tell, this is the first deck that I've ever seen that is a backward sideboard plan deck. So over the years in Magic, we've seen some unique sideboard plans, like transformational sideboard plans, where you try to use your sideboard to switch into an entirely different deck. The best that I can tell, this is a backward sideboarding deck. When you normally sideboard, you play game 1, then you go to game 2, and in between you get to move some cards from your sideboard into your main deck. This is doing exactly the opposite. How I think this deck is supposed to work is we essentially have our entire sideboard in our main deck, and then after game 1, when we go to sideboarding, we sideboard out the cards we don't want in the matchup. So since we have 31 lands, we can cut 6 lands, mostly these tap lands, and then we can cut 9 other cards, whichever cards are worse in the matchup. So if we're up against control, we can cut the cut downs and Authority of the Consuls and the Fog Banks. If we're up against aggro, we can cut some of the expensive stuff that's going to be way too slow against mice or against prowess. So I think that's the theory of the deck. The first ever backward sideboarding deck that I've ever seen, where you start with your sideboard in the main deck and then sideboard cards out and put them in your sideboard after the first game of your match. Can this plan work? Is there any chance that building a backward sideboard deck is actually correct? Can the plan actually work? Should you just play everything in the main deck and take stuff out during sideboarding? That's what we're going to find out today. Is a backward sideboarding deck a meme or a dream? Let's get to some games and try to figure it out. Need some Magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. It is Meme or Dream time. We are trying the first ever backward sideboarding deck that has ever existed in Magic, I believe. In this hand, Yeah, we got the Fog Bank. Oh, all right. Well, this is Fog Bank's moment of truth. Can Fog Bank actually... Oh, we got to keep authority. It's a 1 of and it's our best card against mono red, but we really also want to be hitting lands. Opponent getting it with a Hired Claw hits us down to 19. The other problem... Oh, Magebane Lizard. The other problem we're going to have is... What do we get with this Fabled Passage? Well, yeah, authority, take the 1. So we need a black source for cut down or a blue source for Fog Bank. Opponent getting in, hitting us. Yeah, down to 16, down to 13. And Heartfire Hero. Gonna need to get mana for this Wrath at some point. I think we gotta go Swamp here. I think, as good as a Fog Bank is, it's just... Which is probably not very well. Missing land drops again. It's probably not very, but I'm worried about Monstrous Rage. I think we're actually just going to play the Gold Vein Hydra. I think the most realistic way for us to actually get out of this is make a treasure with Gold Vein Hydra by chump blocking. Hopefully there's no Monstrous Rage, so it soaks up some damage. Draw an untapped land. Oh, God, Manifold Mouse. Draw an untapped land and Day of Judgment. I think we need this Day of Judgment. Opponent, combat, getting it. Well, block the double striker. No Monstrous Rage. That's a bit of good news. Down to 11. Oh, this deck does have a lot of tap lands in the mana base. I think this means we're kind of dead. So we can play the Fog Bank and cut down, but then we don't have mana next turn for the Wrath. But if there is no next turn, we also don't get to Wrath. So if we just die, that also doesn't help. I kind of feel like we're mostly dead. Let's kill the Manifold Mouse. I think we have to kill the Manifold Mouse, pass the turn, hope we live. If we live, then we get to Wrath, and maybe there's a game. Also very possible that we're onto our super unique sideboard plan here. Our backward sideboard plan. Another Manifold Mouse. So that actually 6. Yeah. Okay. Yep. That is 10, and we are dead. Well, now we get to do some sideboarding, which means removing cards from our deck. So we have 31 lands. We want to end up with about 30 or 25. Against mice, I think we just have to start trimming expensive planeswalkers. We really only should need like one of them to win the game, right? If we can actually get one of them down, it should be fine. We don't want to hand this just flooded with 6 mana planeswalkers, and then do a bit of trimming of lands here, starting with the lands that come into play tapped because they're pretty slow. So cut 6 lands, and we still have 25. That's fine. Maybe a Kaya, and what else can we cut? Yeah, maybe some of the glyphs are a little clunky against small creatures. Yeah, try it like that. All right, on to game number 2, and this hand is interesting. We're really leaning on these Gold Vein Hydras, but we have an Ugin. We got an early game removal spell for this Heartfire Hero. When there's a Wrath. Okay, ooh, Gold Vein X1, a sad little Gold Vein. Although, I mean, if it gets us to our Wrath, or even this Overlord of the Hauntwoods, it's gonna be worth it. 2 mana to make a treasure. We basically played green Charming Scoundrel, I guess. Opponent, Rockface Village. I'm gonna pump the Heartfire Hero. Well, we will block, get our treasure. Can we draw a land? Can we draw a... Okay, it's a tap land, but it counts. So let's play the tap land. Cut down the Heartfire Hero. I guess we still need white mana, don't we, if we're gonna Wrath? I guess the Everywhere should take care of that eventually. Well, get rid of the Heartfire with the cut down. Pass the turn. Opponent, Mountain, and Screaming Nemesis. Yeah, that's an untapped land. Okay. Huh. So now we can full price an Overlord if we want to. Gonna grab a Plains. I guess we can also just Wrath the Screaming Nemesis. This isn't a great blocker against Screaming Nemesis, but you know what? Let's just impend it. I think what we want to do, we're up to 6 mana. If we draw an untapped land, we can Ugin to get rid of the Screaming Nemesis. Otherwise, if our opponent just plays more creatures like this Heartfire hero, hopefully we can take the hit and then just Wrath. So we are going to take 6. And then 2 more from killing. Oh, that's a land. 2 more from killing the Heartfire hero. Well, blow him up. Drop to 7. Play the Surveil land. I mean, we gotta keep the Fog Bank. Fog Bank is like half the reason we're playing this deck. And this is an aggro matchup, so if there's any matchup, I mean, Fog Bank actually is really good against Screaming Nemesis, come to think of it. You know what else is good against Screaming Nemesis? How about an Ugin Eye of the Storms to exile Screaming Nemesis? And now we get to start gaining life, so we get to go back up to 7, which is kinda huge. Play the Surveil land. All right, we have a wall of Fog Banks. If Fog Bank doesn't save us here, what even is the point? Wait, are we gonna beat mono red for a game? Hired Claw. It's starting to seem possible that we actually, I don't know if we win this match, but we might actually win this game against mono red. Is this deck, watch this deck be a dream. Watch this sideboard plan take over Magic. Well, let's take up, gain some life, go back up to 7. Whew, well, that's a Kaya. Yeah, I guess we have to just play Kaya and gain more life. As much as I'd like to get down the Fog Bank, I mean, this lets us gain 6 a turn, and we get our Overlord of the Hauntwoods in creature form as a blocker. Ren's Resolve. Well, there's a Monstrous Rage, although the Overlord can suck up a decent amount of this damage, even with them. I don't know if our opponent can really attack. An opponent scoops it up, and we beat mono red. Okay, all it took was our reverse sideboarding plan, and I think we nailed it, so we're going to run it back. All right, on to game number 3. The backwards deck versus mono red. Ugh. I mean, we cannot keep the 1 Swamp Hand. This one? Okay. Fog Bank's time to shine. Vaultborn Tyrant goes to the bottom. We can Fabled Passage to get a blue source to play our Fog Bank and show the power of Fog Bank. Opponent, Emberheart Challenger. Well, you can hit a Cistern opponent, but we have an answer for that. Can you get through the fog? Down to 18. Well, play the Forest, get down the Fog Bank. Time to do some blocking. They say that blocking is dead in Standard. We're about to find out. Does this Fog Bank win us the game? All right, Monstrous Rage. Trample. Pumping. Yeah, that's not ideal. Magebane Lizard, sure. Well, we get to soak up 2 of the damage. I mean, this is the problem, right? Monstrous Rage does make blocking very bad. Once we get rid of Monstrous Rage, do we want Tender Wild Guide? Yeah, I guess we'll keep it. We're gonna play a little mini Goldvein Hydra. Get another blocker down. Pass the turn. Once Monstrous Rage is gone, I mean, Fog Bank isn't Foundations. Ugh, another one. There are mono red matchups, not the Monstrous Rage ones, but there are a lot of mono red decks where, oh my god, another Monstrous Rage opponent. Oh no. Well, yeah, our plan of blocking with Fog Bank is not going super well. We do have a Wrath. It is going to kill our Fog Bank, but I mean, we got to do it or we're gonna die. We drop to 5. Blow up the board. Take 1 from the Magebane. Do a little surveilling. Nissa. Yeah, we can't afford to spend the life on Nissa. Opponent, come on, no hasty threats. Heartfire hero. And passes. Well, I mean, Tender Wild Guide with a youngin'. Make a couple mana dorks, which is not insane, but it's better than nothing. Play the tap land, pass it. We really need to find a Planeswalker. We will accept basically any Planeswalker we can cast we would like here. Well, let's block with the 1/1. The 3rd Monstrous Rage. Seriously? No, my goodness. All right. Well, sometimes they have all 4 Monstrous Rages. Not being that. Nope. Not ever. Well, Monstrous Rage blocking. Not great. On to the next one. We are trying to find out if playing 75 cards in your main deck and then sideboarding out 15 once you go to sideboarding is a meme or dream. Also, Fog Bank was there for some reason. Ooh, all right. Please don't be aggro. We're going to keep the Ugin on top. Okay, Simic's not the most aggro. I mean, Ugin is a busted... Ooh, that is a good one. Okay, Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Exactly what we want to see on top. Ugin's a good one. Ugin's a very strong card if we can get it down. Can we get it down? That is another question. Skyseeker Serpent. Sure. I guess we murder you with a cut down. Play the land. Impend an Overlord of the Hallwoods. Do a little ramping towards an eventual Ugin. What is our opponent's deck? Skyseeker Serpent is not a card you normally see in Standard, although it's a card I like. I feel like Skyseeker Serpent... Spinner of Souls, eh? We played that in our... well, play the land. In our combo deck not that long ago. Important piece of... Why can I not think of the name of the enchantment that makes your stuff cost 2 less? Well, let's Goldvein Hydra. And I think we actually just get in there. If our opponent trades, we're kind of fine with that, because then we just play Ugin next turn. If they don't trade, they take 4 and we have a decent blocker in Goldvein Hydra. I kind of feel like Goldvein Hydra is a good card. I kind of feel like it's a good card that no one plays. Like, its stats aren't bad. Its death trigger's powerful. Why is Goldvein Hydra not... Is it just that green sucks? Like, maybe it's just that green is so bad. Ooh, Mossborn Hydra. I actually tried to build an against odds deck around Mossborn Hydra, and I could not get it to work. I'm hopeful that we can revisit it once we get a Final Fantasy with a bunch more landfall shenanigans. But yeah, I had the idea of like, how big can I make a Mossborn Hydra? And boy, it just died to everything. It is a cool design though, the power doubling. Ooh, but can it beat a Fog Bank? But can it beat, an Eternal Wanderer too? This is actually kind of looking up. See if our opponent would like to do some blocking. No, gonna take it down to 12. Well, Fog Bank, yeah. Defense, cha-cha-cha. So every time our opponent plays a land, they double the counters on their Mossborn Hydra. Right now, just 2 though, so, all right, that's fine. Survey a land, doubles up to 4. Not a fetch land. A fetch land would be the scariest. All right, Simic. All right, Mossborn Hydra. So is our opponent a landfall deck? Opponent. Gonna pass. We draw Eternal Wanderer, which pretty good. Defend the Rider. All right, they're gonna make the Spinner of Souls indestructible. Well, so now we know they're planning on protecting their creatures. That's not a bad one to know about. Opponent still takes 1. We get 4 tap treasures. And Eternal Wanderer. Eternal Wanderer is going to shut down the Mossborn Hydra pretty hard. Because we can just blink it every turn, so it can never get a huge amount of counters. An offer you can't refuse. Okay, so we get even more counters, or more treasures. Ooh. We will keep, that's part of the power of Goldvein Hydra. The first one snowballs into the second one. We also get our Overlord. Opponent, Flood Pit's Drowner. Gonna tap down. No respect for the Fog Bank. Taps down the Overlord. Telling the opponent that Fog Bank, how are you gonna get through it? All the damage is prevented. Shuffles in. We lose our Goldvein Hydra. Plays a Serpent. Gets in. Well, block the one that doesn't trample. I mean, Fog Bank just saved us 4. That's pretty good. Well, let's play an Ugin and hope our opponent can't counter it. Ugin. Blow up your Hydra. And it resolves. Okay, now we can start drawing cards. Do we want to crack the fetch first? I guess we'll just draw. Ooh, boy, second Ugin. We could just play second Ugin. I think we just wait, though. We wait till next turn, tick up, draw, Ugin, pretty much wrath your board, and I think we might be winning this one. We can beat a Mossborn Hydra. Did we break it? The bar for did we break it is slowly lowering. Beating Mossborn Hydra, that's enough. Opponent, Overlord of the Hotwoods. Gonna get their ramp on. Fog Bank, gonna soak up 4 more damage. I mean, so far, 2 mana gain 8. 2 mana gain 8. We are getting towards a constructed playable card with this Fog Bank. We're close. If we block with it like 2 more times, that's, I mean, would you play 2 mana gain 16? Probably, in some decks. Like our deck. Ooh, all right. Well, we will accept another Overlord, but first let's take up, draw a card. I mean, we got to go double removal here, right? If we cast an Ugin with an Ugin out, we get a trigger from the original Ugin and a trigger from when we're casting. So we can get rid of all of our opponent's threats, leave them with the snake thing, and draw another card, gain some more life. And opponent has had enough, and that worked pretty well. That worked pretty well. The question is, how do we backward sideboard in this matchup? What do we not want against Simic? So Authority of the Console seems bad. Filgary Silex seems bad. I wish we had some counters that we could not sideboard out. maybe a cut down. I mean, all the wraths seem really good against what our opponent's doing. Maybe we can trim some of the top end. Like the Vaultborn Tyrant, we don't have that many ways to trigger it. Maybe trim a couple of Glyph Bridges. And then cut our 6 lands. So cut some of the tri-lands. 2 more. This matchup doesn't seem that fast, so I guess maybe we can cut like a couple of basics. Usually I like cutting the tap lands, but in slower matchups, I think keeping the Surveils is probably worth it. All right, 2 more. 1 Eternal Wanderer and yeah, maybe the last Glyph Bridge. Try it like that. All right, on to game number 32. Almost said 3. We have Collector's Vault on 2 and Fogbank. Overlord on 3. I mean, as long as we surveil into a land, opponent Llanowar Elves. Okay, I mean, that's a land. And another land. All right. I mean, that's good. That's good. That's what we wanted to see. Ooh, turn 2 Mossborn Hydra. Okay, that's a little scary. Mill that Eternal Wanderer. I mean, we can play a Fogbank next turn to try to block, but it does have trample. So much trample these days. Everything tramples. And a fetch land. Escape Tunnel. Okay, opponent's going to do a little fetching. The Hydra gonna be up to 4 power. Wait, does this mean we're dead to a fetch land next turn? Are we just gonna die on turn 4 to a Mossborn Hydra? Well, let's play the Cinder Wild Guide. Do a little ramping. If they have another fetch land, I'm reading this right? Land number 1 up to 8, land number 2 up to 16. I guess we can jump with a Wild Guide to go to like 2 or 1. Is our opponent countering this? Are you giving up, opponent? Are we done? Are we giving up? Is the power of our Fogbank just too much for your Mossborn Hydra? Oh, it's that silly counter spell. Resolute something. The Simic. Repulsive mutation. That's right. Yeah. So that was another counter on the Mossborn Hydra. You got a fetch land? They do. Well, our opponent's living the dream. Wow, and the emo too, opponent. Gotta rub it in. Opponent's living the dream. That's what I wanted to do with Mossborn Hydra that I could not make happen, but well, good for our opponent. I'm glad someone's doing it. Bring in more Raz, run it like that. All right, on to game number 3. We are on the play. Can our backwards sideboard in Fogbanks lead us past? Okay. I mean, we got a Sunfall. I don't know what the Nis is doing. Nothing right away, but I think the Sunfall is enough for us to keep this deck. It gets around their indestructible protection. We still got to dodge a counter, I guess, but oh, no, not again. Llanowar Elves. Well, Surveil Land. We'll keep the cut down. Well, at least now if they just run out Mossborn Hydra, we can cut it down. That's the thing I'm mostly scared of. The rest of our opponent's deck, as we saw in game 1. All right, there's a Mossborn Hydra. Well, yeah, you gotta die. Sorry, Mossy. Cut down the Mossborn. Mill the Jordra Keeve Island. About it. And passes. Okay, another Wrath. Well, I'm feeling a little bit better. Feeling a little bit better about where we're at. We have 2 Wraths in hand. We already killed the first Mossborn. It kind of seems like our opponent's a Mossborn Hydra combo deck. Like, without the Mossborn, it doesn't seem like their deck does a ton. Another cut down. Okay, another answer. Play the land, pass the turn. Well, there's old Mossy. Well, Mossy must die. And our opponent gonna play a land. Well, in response, we're gonna cut down the Mossborn Hydra. Opponent's only got 4 cards in hand. As long as we kill this Mossborn, we should defend the Rider. All right. Well, you can untap in Wrath, so that's not ideal. We would much rather just have the Mossborn Hydra be dead. But we can untap in Wrath. As long as we kill the Mossborn Hydra, we're good. I mean, we even have this Nissa in hand where once we deal with the Mossborn and get our opponent out of their interaction, the Nissa should clean up pretty nicely. So opponent adds some counters up to 4 power. We draw Fogbank. Well, play the land. Day of Judgment, get rid of the Mossborn Hydra, and hopefully the Land of War 2. Oh, come on, opponent. How many counters do you realistically have? We had 3 answers. If they just have, okay, an offer you can't refuse. Sadly, not enough to let us play Sunfall this turn. 1 mana short. We will play a Fog Bank, though. To soak up 2 damage. I mean, next turn we get to Sunfall. If they just have, I guess if they have a 3rd answer to our removal, then tip the hat, scoop them up. There's a fetch, up to 8 power. I mean, we're not dead, because we do have the Fog Bank. I mean, I guess we wouldn't be dead anyway, but Fog Bank, gonna save us a couple damage here, gain us a couple life. I'm gonna grab the Fabled Passage. Grow the Mossy. I mean, I guess if you draw 2 Mossborn Hydras and enough protection, it can get there eventually. We drop to 5. Come on, Dirty Sunfall. I almost feel bad that Sunfall's the card that's gonna save us here, but what can you do? Well, untap, Collector's Vault. Sunfall, can we please kill the dang Hydra? Oh, they have another counter. Well, opponent's winning their Memer Dream. They're winning their against odds. Sadly, even with our innovative sideboard plan, we are not, well, looking like it might be a meme, but we still got some more games to go. We got time to recover. We'll get them next time. I mean, we got 75 cards in our deck. We can't be too picky with our opening hands. We got lands and spells. Ooh, Rakdos, eh? Opponent going to duress away our Eternal Wander. Well, play the land. Remember when Eternal Wander was like really good? There was a time, like 2 years ago, when Mono White with Eternal Wander was like one of the best decks in Standard. I kind of miss that slower Standard. I think the biggest... I think a lot of the feelings that people don't really like about, whoa, Vile Smasher. All right, well, thankfully, we can cut that down and play a Surveil land. I think a lot of the angst about current Standard is actually just how fast it is. I think a lot of the complaints, mice and prowess and omniscience, I think it all comes back to the format just being faster than people are used to in Standard and maybe faster than people want Standard to be. So that would be my message to Wizards for the future. Not that we want every Standard, because we'll also remember when everything was only mid-range and every match took 45 minutes. That's also not good. I think the game's ending turn 3, turn 4. A little much for a lot of people in Standard. But I was going to play a Boombox, which I don't know why they're playing Boombox. We played it in a land destruction deck once, because it can actually blow up a land for the low price of 8 total mana. Well, take up the Filigree Silex. Let's do a little gold baiting then. Get in there. Hit you for 2. Our opponent's missing land drops, which, I mean, I guess they're an aggro deck, so maybe it's, ooh, well, we'll keep the cut down. If we can just keep killing all their stuff, it is a little risky. Ooh, wow. Okay, opponent. Perhaps did not read the Filigree Silex. Plays another 2-drop. Well, take up the Filigree Silex and play a land, and yeah, I mean, we're just gonna do it now and get in for 2. Pop the Filigree Silex, literally blow up all your non-land permanents. One-sided onto inversion there. Opponent. Vile Smasher. Not the one that's really good in Commander. This is the uncommon one with a cowboy hat. Oh my god, that's Kaya. I mean, that's, well, somehow we are drawing all of our cut downs with our 75 card main deck. Magde. Well, you know what I say to that? Oh, in a Fog Bank? I think we actually want Planeswalkers here. Yeah, let's attack. If our opponent wants to kill it, that's fine. We'll offer the trade. Okay, opponent's gonna trade. We're fine with that. I mean, this Kaya is what's going to win us the game anyway, not a 2-2 Hydra. Opponent, Schwamp, and Laughing Jasper Flint. Well, now we actually got to Kaya that because we don't really want our opponent stealing our Planeswalkers. Not that they can really cast them, but yeah, Kaya takedown. Get a Laughing Jasper Flint. Forest to the bottom off the Surveil land. Cut down at the ready. Pat, this has went incredibly well. Lord Skitter. I mean, we're definitely benefiting from our opponent being pinched on mana, although they've had stuff to do every turn. It's not like they're sitting there doing nothing. They just haven't been able to double. Ooh, Karavek, eh? Well, let's take up. Drain you with the Kaya. Play the Karavek. Why we can. So we cut down into nothing. So when we commit a crime, we can cast a black spell from our graveyard. Yeah, let's just cast a big old Goldvein Hydra. The second Goldvein Hydra, that's the one that gets you. An opponent scoops it up because you have all the treasures from the first one. So the second one typically is pretty good. Well, now for the challenge. How do we reverse sideboard against Rakdos Crimes? Let's go down some glyph bridges. I don't think we need that many Wraths. Authority of Consuls, they don't really have haste, I don't think. What else can we sideboard? I'm not sold on the Vaultborn Tyrant just because we don't have much to trigger off of it. And then I guess we can just cut some of the more expensive Planeswalkers. We probably don't need like, whatever, 12 6+ mana Planeswalkers. And then go down our 6 lands. So do you think this could ever work? Is there actually any world where playing a reverse deck, where you play all your cards in the main deck and sideboard them out? I could see in open deck list tournaments. It gives your opponent a lot to play around, right? They're never gonna know. They're gonna have too many things to play around to realistically do it. So I could see that being an argument for it. Although in reality, well, we'll see. We'll see. So far we're 0-2, but there's still time, and we won that game pretty convincingly. Are we getting the freebie? On Meme or Dream. So on Meme or Dream, I will always accept the freebie because remember, the whole idea is Wizards publishes these deck lists saying that they got at least 6 wins in a row at Platinum Rank or better on Arena and Best of 3. And I always wonder, how can some of these janky lists do it? One of the ways that a really janky list can end up winning, 6 times in a row is if you have some opponents where, you steal game 1, your opponent got to go to work, their baby starts crying, they stub their toe or something. You never know. Something happens and your opponent's like, okay, I'm done. That counts as a win. And whatever system Wizards has that's plucking these deck lists, it's not going to know. It's not going to know if you won because your opponent scooped or because you won a 45-minute, 3-game grind fest. A win's a win. A win's a win. So that's one of the ways it could explain some of the, very weird looking deck lists actually ended up getting published, is maybe you get a couple of freebies. And it looks like we might be getting a freebie here. Our reverse sideboarding plan, too powerful for nerd work. Although I don't even know how they know that we're on the reverse sideboarding plan. Maybe they knew from our 75 card deck. People are onto us. They're ahead of the game. They know what's happening. I think we get the win though. Opponent, clock running out. And head exploding, and we'll take it. All we got to do, win 3 more in a row. Well, Fogbank, snap keep. It is, unironically, our most important creature. I don't know if I'd say best. Ooh, cut down. Ooh, I wish I knew what matchup we're in. We're going to mill it. We want to make sure we hit our land drops. If we're up against aggro, all right, planes go. That's fine. Well, we could island in Fogbank, but there's nothing to block. We will surveil and keep a Collector's Vault on top. Opponent. Carrot cake, eh? You're gonna make a token, sure. Do a little scrying to the top. So we can play Collector's Vault, but we can't activate it this turn. We can play the island and run out the Fogbank. Yeah, let's get the Fogbank down. We don't want to take any rabbit damage. Oh, Fogbank. I remember back when I used to buy and sell collections, this was forever ago now, this was actually like a chase uncommon. This was one of the commons that if you bought someone's collection, you always knew Fogbank gonna be like 50 cents, 75 cents, and all those cents add up, don't it? Wow, are they perilous snaring a Fogbank? All right, I think that counts as a win. If they actually have to spend a real 3-mana removal spell on our Fogbank, that means Fogbank doing something right. Actually, they probably just want to get their speed going, but still. Opponent, kick off, sell it. Okay, so they're like max speed tokens. Let's do a little looting. Discard one of our many Day of Judgments. I mean, if we just get up to 7 mana and start playing Kayas and Vaultborn Tyrants, life should be pretty decent. Opponent hits us. Speed up to 3. Plays a land, passes. Who do we full price the Overlord or impend the Overlord? Let's make a treasure first. See if we can hit a land. Ooh, okay, there's a swamp. Ooh, what do we discard though? You know what? Let's go Day of Judgment. I feel like we don't need the Wrath at the moment. Now we will impend an Overlord. And this means we definitely have the mana for a Kaya or a Vaultborn, either one next turn. Opponent gonna crack the carrot cakes right at the bottom. We will get our everywhere land. What do you got, rabbits? Opponent gonna play a land and do a little carrot caking. Sure. Keep stacking up them bunnies. Gets in for 2, down to 16. Well, max speed has been achieved, so they can add counters with their Perilous Snare. They can haste stuffed with the kickoff celebration. So many overlords. Well, I think we're gonna just play Vaultborn first. Play Vaultborn, draw a card, gain some life, and then this opponent's gonna crack carrot cake. This should let us draw off of our overlords next turn. Unless we go with Kaya. Let's see what we draw into. Vaultborn Tyrant. Into even more Collector's Vaults. Well, unimpend, pass the turn. I mean, we're still at 19. I feel like this is going pretty well. We're at 19. Our opponent's not doing anything super threatening in the short term. Like, they got some 1/1s. The haste is a little scary, but I don't know what they're hasting in. Urbrosk's Forge. And counter on the bunny with the Perilous Snare. Opponent gonna make the hasty token from the Forge, and, well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna block it. I guess you might as well attack because it's gonna die anyway, but we will block with our 6/6. All right, we draw, ooh, Goldvein Hydra. Yeah, let's just Overlord, keep on ramping. We might not even need the Kaya. So we get to make it everywhere, draw a card, gain some, oh my God, that's a Ugin. Okay, things are looking good. Let's activate this Collector's Vault, see if we can hit a land. We get our treasure back anyway. All right, no land. We will discard Collector's Vault number 2. Not that serious of a collector. We're just gonna stay on defense. I feel like we're winning the late game in this one. With haste out there, yes, chipping in for some damage is nice. I am a little worried about the kickoff celebrations. Elspeth Stormslayer, okay. What are we doing with Elspeth? So this doubles our Urbrosk's Forge, doubles Elspeth tokens. All right, instead, opponent going to add some counters to things. So what are we at, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? They can hit us for 11 here? If they hit us with everything, though, then we do kill the Elspeth. I mean, we get to kill the Elspeth with Ugin anyway, but our opponent doesn't know that we have the Ugin. All right, opponent just gets in with the Forge tokens. We will block them. Take 0. draw a Fog Bank. I mean, we gotta answer the Elspeth. Ugin, snipe the Elspeth. And yeah, let's actually, do we make mana? If we make mana, we can Collector's Vault Fog Bank. We gotta get the Fog Bank down. Fog Bank is the reason we're here. Fog Bank and the ridiculous sideboard plan. Collector's Vault, hit a land. Yeah, let's pitch the Overlord. That's fine. Kind of want to hold on to the Glyph Bridge just in case we need a Wrath. Making everywhere. See what our opponent does. We can afford to go down a blocker here because we have the almighty Fog Bank. No one gets through the fog. I can't believe we're playing Fog Bank in 2025. And sideboarding in reverse. Well, opponent blocks with some rabbits. Kill the biggest one. And here comes Fog Bank. Gotta defend the Ugin somehow. Oh, all right. Gonna get lost the Ugin. Well, better the Ugin than the Fog Bank. Better the Ugin than the Fog Bank. We get to keep our Fog Bank. Ugin is dead, though. We get another Overlord, unimpending. I don't see how they're getting any damage here. Not through that Fog Bank. Looking at the Fog Bank, you got another Perilous Snare to deal with our Fog Bank. Oh, all right. Legion Extruder to kill the Fog. All right, Fog Bank down. Legion Extruder takes it down. Urbrosk's Forge for 3. We will block with the Vaultborn Tyrant. Token down. Well, now we got to choose. Yeah, we're just going to play a huge Goldvein Hydra here. Let's just Goldvein Hydra. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 for 8. Goldvein for 8. Draw a card with a Vaultborn Tyrant. Smack you for a ton. I keep feeling like Goldvein might actually be a good card. It's been in... Oh, another one too, my God. All right, 2 Goldveins, definitely a good card. And I guess we're getting frisky. I'm feeling like Goldvein Hydra is a real card that we should play more. Well, okay, opponent going to kill the Goldvein. The problem is we are going to make 8 tap treasures, and we got another Goldvein in hand, which means we can play almost a 20 powered, not quite 20 powered, but almost 20 powered Goldvein next turn. Opponent drops to 20, trades off with the Overlord, 0 cards in hand. I guess they can do Legion Extruder shenanigans, but they don't really have artifacts to sack. Found it. Perilous Snare on the bunny. Plays a land. Urbrow's Forge. What happened? Okay. Urbrow's, did they just pass the turn? Well, we're going to put an end to this. We're going to make a 17/17 Goldvein Hydra. Everything be trampling, which I think means, yeah, opponent scoops it up, and the power of Fog Bank, and also Goldvein Hydra. Well, all right, sideboard time. So we get to go down 6 lands. What an absurd plan. Go down the 6 lands. All of them will be tap lands of one variety or another. Then what do we not want? So honestly, our opponent's deck's pretty controlling. We're probably going to go down the Fog Banks. Probably going to go down most of the cut downs. The big stuff seems good. What else can we cut? Maybe go down all the cut downs? I guess we can trim a Collector's Vault and run it like that. On to game number 2. Now that we have done our reverse sideboarding trick. I don't know if this plan's Grifter or Genius. Oh, probably Grifter. This hand's fine. We got an Overlord. Wrap us into a Wrath or something. 2 Goldveins, too. I mean, Goldvein's been kind of like the sneaky all-star in this deck. Goldveins felt really legit. Found it. Land and Kickoff Celebration. Well, let's crack this Fable Passage. Grab us a Forest for our Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Found it. Gonna discard and draw. Pitch is a mountain. Draw some cards. Wow, triple Goldvein Hydra. This might be the Goldvein Hydra game. Goldvein Tron assembled. Well, we're gonna run one out as a very sad 1/1. Hit you for one. Down to 19. Who's the aggro opponent? Who's the aggro? Kickoff Celebrations Part 2. Pitches. Urbrow's Forge. I feel like Urbrow's Forge gotta be one of their better cards. Well, that's Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Getting everywhere. We're getting close to Eternal Wander. We can also play a slightly bigger Goldvein next turn, which is good. Opponent land. United Battlefront. Spin it to win it. Spin it to win it. What do we find? Apparently nothing very good, because our opponent looks at their cards, scoops them up, and that's the Fog Bank win. We did it. We did it with our reverse sideboard plan. It finally happened. We are playing the infamous reverse deck. Can a reverse sideboarded deck actually work? What if you started with your sideboard in your main deck and then took cards out during sideboarding rather than adding cards in? This ridiculous plan. I mean, this hand looks fine. Opponent, Novice Inspector. The Collector's Vaults are good. Let's just play the tap land. I don't think we need to cut down the Novice Inspector. And... oh, Downmaker's Snap. Well, maybe it actually would have been good to cut down the Novice Inspector so I don't get to trigger the Downmaker Shop. I'll play the land. Oh, so we can kill the Novice Inspector, or we can just get down Collector's Vault. Yeah, let's play the Vault. I think we'd rather start making treasures and digging for a Wrath and just sweep the board to deal with the Downmaker's Sarah Snuff rather than trying to kill Novice Inspectors one by one. That sounds like hard mode. Sheltered by Ghosts. On the token. There goes our Vault. Found it. Gets and hits us down to 16. Fog Bank cut down. Or just Collector's Vault. Could also play... yeah, let's play the Vault. Like I said, I think the way we win this game is by finding a sweeper. I think that's the most important thing. We probably will cut down the Novice Inspector just to keep them from snowballing even more tokens. That's bad. That thing's big now. Yeah, so opponents like mono white enchantments. Yeah, that's a 6/5. Well, we can keep our man. You know what? This game would... oh no! And a Shard Mage. Oh, we're super dead, aren't we? Yeah, we're not gonna have time to find a Wrath. This game, I think, would have looked a lot different. And I don't think we played it wrongly, but it would have went much better for us. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. Well, let's do a little looting. All the Fog Banks in the world are not enough to get around that swarm. If we had went untap land, cut down the Novice Inspector turn 1, the way that game played out, I think it would have went way better. I still think it was right to play the tap land, but with hindsight, well, let's do our reverse sideboarding. So 6 lands out, down to 25. Opponent super aggro, so go down the Vaultborn. Probably a couple Glyph Bridges. I don't like that the Glyph Bridge leaves a small creature left over. Can go down the Authority, maybe trim a Gold Vein, and maybe like one Kaya, one Eternal Wander, run it like that. Our reverse sideboard plan is now in action, so everything should be good now. now that we're down to 60 cards. Fogbank, Eternal Wander sounds like the nuts to me. Land, go. I mean, Fogbank blocks, then we play Planeswalkers, and we win the game. That had to be the intent of this deck. Ooh, Twitching Dow. Well, that's actually better than a Fogbank. That ramps us into our Eternal Wander. And Sheltered by Ghosts. The only downside, well, maybe not the only downside. Let's play our Fogbank. A downside I see of this plan is we're kind of lacking traditional sideboard cards. It's not like we have an enchantment removal spell. I feel like maybe this deck needed to play more like counters in the main, like more narrow effects. You traditional. Oh my goodness, what a start! All right, Magic Gods, give us a Wrath. This Fogbank's actually going to do a little bit here. Opponent gets in. Fogbank says no. Prevents the damage. You don't even gain any life. And there is a Day of Judgment right on time. Okay. Well, now we would like you to play, well, Enduring Innocence. We wanted you to play more creatures. Enduring Innocence does stick around. Grab the Plains. Opponent going to get a trigger or two from their Scavengers. Grow their dorks. Grow their dorks. And, okay, Novice Inspector. I mean, this is pretty good. Opponent gets to draw a card, but we pretty much get the hard reset here. So block the 4/4. Take 6 down to 12. Ooh, Liliana, too. Well, play the land, crack the land. We got to get another Plains for Day of Judgment. And I'm feeling a little judgmental today. Let's put an end to your optimistic scavenging. And we get back Twitching Dow, which is kind of nice. Opponent, more scavenging. Gonna draw a card off the Enduring Innocence. Yeah, I do wish they... Oh, Sheltered by Ghosts. Boo! We needed that Twitching Dow mana to be able to cast our Liliana. Well, not an untapped land. Let's play the Collector Vault. I think we just loot right away. Let's see what we can see. Ugin. Huh. 3 busted Planeswalkers, but we need the land. Yeah. Sorry, Eternal Wander. Eternal Wander is very good, too, but I think I'd rather have Lillian and Ugin at the moment. Found it. Gonna crack the clue. Another Sheltered by Ghosts. Going after... Ooh, the treasure. That actually means we can't play Ugin this turn. I mean, we can still play Lily, which is good. I mean, we could draw an untapped land, but... Fogbank. Well, Liliana. And I think we gotta just tick down first. Get rid of that Scavenger. Get back the Twitching Dow. Put an end to all that life gain. Pony is up to 29, so we have a ways to go before they die. Pony gonna crack the clue. What do they find? Novice Inspector to keep replenishing the clues. Draws with Enduring Innocence. Ah, this has got to be over, though, right? Like, Ethereal Arbor. Well, let's tick up Lily. And... Whew! Eternal Wanderer 2. Okay. Let's just play the Fogbank. Now we have our defense set up to play this Ugin next turn. Found it. Gonna crack the clue. I mean, I don't know how they beat a Liliana Ugin. Invasion of Gobakon. Oh, maybe we should have just played the Ugin instead of getting down our Fog. I had to get down the Fogbank, though. Fogbank is the whole reason we're playing this, but yeah, I guess perhaps we should have played the Ugin. Well, oh, we don't have enough mana now? Aww. All right, I guess we'll have to settle for an Eternal Wanderer and make a zombie and flicker out the Novice Inspector. Get rid of the Ethereal Armor. And opponent. Done, diddly done. And okay, that went pretty well. I will say, the deck plays some pretty close games. It's not like, even if we lose, a lot of the times it feels like we're kind of competitive. We have some strong cards. I'll give the deck that. We have some strong cards. Synergy. Yeah, strong cards, yeah. All right, on to game number 3. We're running it back. Our sideboard, our reverse sideboard, already perfect from last time. This seems fine. Eternal Wanderer is a pseudo Wrath, so we just Opponent's going to 5. So we just Overlord into Eternal Wander and trust that that should be enough, hopefully. Oh, Gabakon. Opponent. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Overlord. Sure. Gets and hits it. Well, playing the land. Another Overlord is good. That is helpful. Ground entryway. I mean, I guess the question is, are we fast enough? Oh, this lets him flip? Oh, that's a concern. It is nice that Eternal Wander is sacrificed, so it does get around the Gabakon. But, man, battles are rotating this summer, and battles... I gotta say, I feel like battles kind of flop. I like battles. This is not a knock on the designs, because I like battles. But I feel like as far as being playable, I feel like battles kind of flopped, honestly. Like, they were in standard for 3 years, and what do we see? Gabakon, maybe the 4-mana green ramp one a couple of times. But considering this was like the new card type, the hype thing, I gotta say, I feel like the power level was not quite there for them to see play. The bad news is our opponent mulled to 5 on the play, and I think they're going to kill us with this Gabakon line. Opponent hits us, also gets rid of our impending Overlord. We're going to cast this Wrath, which is not going to work because our opponent can sack the invasion of Gabakon. This does... man. It doesn't even work, does it? It doesn't even work. Oh, well, now we die immediately to another Shelter by Ghost. 5 cards, 2 lands, no problem for our opponent. I guess that means we're a meme, but we'll talk about that in the wrap up. Be right back. So what did we learn this week about our backwards sideboarding deck? And overall, we went 3-7 with the deck. So we won 3 out of our 10 matches, giving us a 30% win rate, which definitely makes the deck a meme. Honestly, after playing this deck, I can see how we could get some wins. Like, we got some wins where we just ramp into big planeswalkers and the big planeswalkers take over the game. It is hard for me to envision, though, this deck actually winning 6 best-of-3 matches in a row at Platinum Rank or better on Magic Arena. It's just way too slow to fight through all the aggro decks. When we run into, like, controller mid-range, it actually does kind of fine, but against aggro, it's just really, really slow. The Fog Bank, sadly, the thing that initially drew me to the deck, it's just not a good format for blocking. In theory, they'd be great against like mono red, right? We play this and we soak up all the damage from your big thing, but there's so much trample thanks to Monstrous Rage that we had games against mono red where we played the Fog Bank and our opponent just trampled over and beat us anyway. So as far as the sideboarding plan, I mean, it sort of worked. I don't think it's actually the best way to build a deck, but we did kind of pull it off where we'd go to sideboarding and we would take out the bad cards in the matchup. The problem is, in Magic, you're guaranteed to always play game 1, right? I guess you're guaranteed to always play at least 2 games, but you might never play that 3rd game. So putting all of your sideboard cards in the main deck for game 1, in theory means you're weakening your deck for the 1 game that you're most guaranteed to be able to play. So I think it's probably better to have your deck be as good as possible for like the meta as a whole in game 1, and then try to improve it during sideboarding for games 2 and game 3, rather than starting with everything in the main deck. Although technically the plan kind of worked, although it was kind of sad that in our wins, 2 of our 3 wins, our opponent actually scooped super early in game 2, so we didn't even get to really see our sideboard plan take effect in a lot of our wins. But the deck was ridiculous. Fog Bank, it's still a meme. Playing everything in the main deck and then backward sideboarding, also, I think still a meme, although it's wild to me that I never thought of this. Like, Magic's been around for over 30 years. I've been doing this for a long time now, and I had never thought about building a deck that sideboards backwards. So even though the plan maybe wasn't the best one, it still blows my mind that someone even came up with the idea, if that's even their idea. It's also possible that this is just like some new player deck that threw in a bunch of cards that they wanted to and didn't feel like building a sideboard, because building a sideboard can be hard. And I just read all this into it and it was never intended to be a backwards deck. I guess that's also possible because I've never talked to the person who built the deck. But the plan's wild. The deck, definitely a meme, but still pretty hilarious. So anyway, that has been a backward sideboarding deck. That's been our meme or dream for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back on Monday with some Final Fantasy action. So get ready for new set release. Until then, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.